Hi, I'm Tyron Hyde, the CEO of Washington Brown. Today I've got Terry Ryder, CEO of Hotspotting, renowned author, writer, mentor, property strategist. Hello Terry, how are you?
Very well, Tyron.
That's good. How's business, Terry?
Very good. 2024 has really started with a bang. Kind of took us by surprise. You know, a lot of people in real estate tend to think of January as half a month, but in actual fact, it was a very full month. In fact, people it seems like a lot of people decided at the start of 2024 they're going to do something, you know, in property, they're going to take action. So it's been very busy so far in 2024 for us.
I read the other day that the price difference between Melbourne and Sydney at the moment, the gap as a ratio is quite high. Yeah. Is Melbourne one of your hotspots at the moment?
Yeah, it's one of the markets we expect to do better in 2024 than in 2023. What we saw in 2023, that some of the capital cities had, you know, double-digit, more than 10% growth in their median prices, but Melbourne wasn't one of them. Melbourne actually started the year with a very weak market. It improved as the year went on in terms of sales activity, but it hasn't yet translated into strong price growth. Very moderate growth in Melbourne prices in 2023. We think it's going to be more in 2024 as that increased activity translate more into price growth.
Now, on your podcast, I mentioned that I like to buy when others aren't buying. Looking at the Perth market now, it seems pretty hot. If I was going to go to Perth now, have I missed the boat, Terry?
Yes, you have. What we're saying to people is think very carefully if you're thinking about piling into the Perth market for a number of reasons. I mean, the Perth market has been growing strongly for 3 years. If it's not past its peak, it's very close to its peak. If you're buying now, you're going to be buying at the top of that market, or even after it's gone over the top, starting to decline. What we're seeing in our analysis of sales activity is that Perth has passed its peak and it's starting to taper off. But people don't realise that. They're still reading in the media that you know, it's the boom market, so they want to be part of it. The opposite of your philosophy, that they're herd animals. They should be moving in the opposite direction to the herd, or at the very least leading the herd, which means you should have bought there 3 years ago. Yeah. But now, you know, properties are selling within a week of being listed. They're selling for more than the listed price. People are buying without doing due diligence. You know, it's a recipe for disaster. So I'd say to people, there are other good places to buy in Australia. Just stay out of the Perth market.
What about Sydney? Sydney, I know I saw on the weekend there was an unrenovated semi that sold for $9 million in Paddington. Yeah. There's no view in Paddington, so I don't know what's going on there. I saw John McGrath recently say he's never seen the top end of the market in Sydney as hot as it is in 40 years. Yeah. What's happening?
Look, I still haven't met anybody who actually understands the Sydney property market. I mean, it's actually quite a different animal to the rest of the country. I think there's just so much of the country's serious wealth resides in Sydney, and the normal philosophies about what should happen in real estate markets don't really apply in Sydney. It does things that you know, the bank economists, for example, say can't happen. Yeah. So you know, Sydney had a pretty strong 2023. It seems to be continuing in 2024, and you know, it's got nothing to do with interest rates. It's got nothing to do with where income levels are at. It's all about the wealth that's in Sydney and the ability of people to pay the sort of prices you're talking about for unrenovated properties.
Do you own an investment property? Washington Brown has helped over 250,000 property investors pay less tax with the depreciation schedule. Visit washingtonbrown.com.au to pay less tax today. I'm going to ask you one final question, if that's all right, Terry. If I got a hat and I put in Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, all the capital cities, and you're only allowed to choose one city now to buy in, which one would you pick out of the hat?
I'd probably pick Adelaide. Okay. And that might surprise a lot of people. I think Adelaide, despite the fact it's performed very well in recent years, still continues to be the most underrated city in the country for real estate. We think that real estate is very local in nature. We don't have an Australian property market. We have lots of local markets, and they're very heavily influenced by what's happening in the local economy. That's what drives local property markets. And not many people would realise that right now, South Australia is ranked the #1 economy in the country.
Really?
ComSec produces the State of the States report every quarter, and in recent years, South Australia's been rising up the rankings until the most recent report, it ranked #1. And the rise and rise of the South Australian economy has coincided with the rise and rise of the Adelaide property market. It's had good growth in the last few years, but it's still got a lot more to go. It's still very affordable, about half the price of Sydney, much cheaper than Brisbane and Melbourne. Great city, great lifestyle, underpinned by a very strong economy, lowest vacancy rates in Australia. We know everyone's got low vacancy rates, but Adelaide's ridiculous.
Really?
It's almost zero.
Wow.
So for an investor, Adelaide makes a lot of sense. Affordable, great rental yields, prospects for growth.
Fantastic. Thank you, Terry. Always a pleasure.